All right. It's a countdown. 1, 2, 3. Hey, this is Jed Barker again here at Best Life Mortgage, the Jedi Mortgage Master. I'm on live this morning on my social media channels with Mike Livesay. Is that correct? Am I pronouncing it right?
You did. Livesay. Yep.
I always want to say Livesay, but now I've known you for like at least 6 years, so Livesay is the way to go. This is the Livesay agency. Mike's actually become a really good friend of mine, but it didn't start that way. Started out as a client of mine. He wanted to buy a house because he's moving to South Carolina, and he was starting an agency or taking over a State Farm agency down here. He'd done that in the past, and it's time to do it again. And him and I worked together on his first home purchase down here, his first mortgage. So that's how we connected. But since then, Mike and I have become, I would consider us friends. I don't know what he says behind my back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So we're friends. I believe we're pretty good friends on a business level, but also outside of business. We have a lot in common, which is also awesome. And Mike's become a critical part of my business because a client that comes to me needs to have homeowners insurance in order to get it qualified for a mortgage. And Mike's my first reference point on that all the time for a lot of reasons. I'm just going to name a few of them, and we're going to get into the purpose of the video. But number one, he always takes care of my clients. They like him, good feedback, good reviews every single time. He's got the good products at the right prices, which is important to me and all home buyers. And he's really fast at what he does for me. And as a Jedi Mortgage Master, I work on speed. And if I don't have the speed, it sort of slows me down. And Mike's team is amazing on that front. And so what we're going to do in about 10 to 15 minutes here is I want to address the importance of homeowners insurance, but really some things I thought about is we'll go over is like, why do I need to get homeowners insurance? We'll talk a little bit about that. When do I need to get homeowners insurance? How do I get the best pricing on homeowners insurance? Like, what are some things I can do to reduce my spend with our new homeowners? It's a tight budget, especially in today's market. So they're always having to, figure out the cost. So how can we reduce that as much as possible? And then another question I thought of is, what are some questions people even don't think about that they should be asking so they choose the right company? Because I'm in the mortgage business. You're in the homeowners insurance business. There are a lot of options in both of our spaces. People could talk to many, many companies, but they come to us for reasons that they decide on. And so those are the reasons. Some of those are questions that people are going to have. So let's get into that. Mike, thanks for being here. I just introduced you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great introduction.
Absolutely. I wanted to do this real quick too for Mike. If you need a homeowners insurance agent, check him out at this website. You can connect with him, and there's his number. I won't leave that up the whole time, but I'll pop it up a few times, as we go. And so I'm going to ask that first question to you. This is going to be the hardest question of the day. But Mike, what are the right questions people should ask about homeowners insurance that they just don't know especially when they're buying a home for the first time and they just don't know anything about it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the biggest thing that people should know is not every insurance company or product is the same. There's companies that are out there that are just going to sell you the cheapest possible policy that doesn't really cover a lot. But this is one of the biggest purchases that you'll ever make, and it's going to be a big asset for you. And so wanting to make sure that it has the right coverages there. One of the things that we see the most is that a lot of companies offer an actual cash value policy. We call those HO3s. State Farm is 100% replacement costs. And so a great example of that is if you have a big hailstorm and you need a new roof because of that hailstorm, a new roof is going to cost anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 or more $1,000. Right. And so what happens is if that roof is an older roof, if it's 5 or 10 or 15 years old, most companies are going to give you the depreciated amount for that roof. And so you may be on the hook for $10,000 or $15,000 and the insurance company is only going to cover $5,000 or $10,000. And so that's a big major expense, especially when you're first buying a home. You just put all that money down. You have, a lot of your money that's invested into the home. It becomes really expensive. And so what State Farm does, we're 100% replacement costs. And so if that same exact situation happened and you have a big hailstorm, we're going to pay you 100% of the cost to replace that roof minus the deductible. So if it costs $25,000 to replace and you have $1,000 deductible, at the end, we're going to write you a $24,000 check to replace that roof once it's decided that it needs to be replaced. So those certain things like that a lot of people just don't see.
Yeah, that's super important because when I think, not to put the insurance industry down, but when I think about insurance, I think about movies like, I forget the name of the movie, Danny DeVito. What's the other young guy's name? This different. This is life insurance, but
Yeah.
they have you to go after them because they don't want to cover the policy, and they're
Got
like,
it.
and they're just like reject, and that's just standard. I know that's not State Farm standard, but when you
Yeah.
think about what do you need to have in writing, if you can think about, I want this in writing, I just don't want someone saying, hey, don't worry, we'll take care of you. We'll
Yeah,
take care of you.
absolutely.
So
Well, I think
that's
also
vital.
to go along with that, I think that's the difference between having a local agent as compared to a 1-800 number. I have been on roofs for my customers. I've been to homes that are been burned down. Having an advocate that's there to help you through that process is so vital.
Yeah. No, absolutely amazing. How often should a person who has a homeowner's insurance get together with their agency to have a
That's a
conversation?
That's a wonderful question. So, our agency, we have it automatically built in. We have a team member whose sole responsibility is to call our customers on the month that their fire renewal is happening, their homeowners is renewing. And so their whole purpose is to call to schedule an appointment with that customer, preferably in person, whether it be in the customer's home, whether it be in our office, whether it be virtually or over the phone. So at least once a year, we're built in to have that meeting with that customer. Some customers take advantage of it, some customers don't. But I would say at least annually just to take a look at it, just because the cost of materials is changing, the cost of labor has changed. And so
Yep.
at the end of the day, when you have that claim, you want to make sure that you're insured properly.
Yeah, so I've been thinking a little bit about that the other day. We have a lot of our clients who, purchased a home, let's say 300,000 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago. The home now is worth 450 as far as the valued. Replacement
Yeah.
cost 450. Typically, if they don't follow up and they're just sort of ignoring that meeting, they're just going to stay insured for 200-300 grand, right? And
Correct. Yep.
so that's their policy. So is that a big deal though if you have to go and say, hey, I'm calling my insurance company, and Mike, my home's gone up by like 500K in the last 6 years. How much more expensive is my policy going to be, and can I afford the payment? Like, how does that conversation go?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so for us, we're looking for every single possible discount that's going to be there. And so they may have over that year gotten a alarm system that we could provide a discount for. There are other products that maybe we can multi-line and work towards there to help get the discounts as cheap as possible. And one thing that I love that State Farm does is the longer that you've been with State Farm, the bigger your discount is for longevity. And so we're always constantly looking for those things. But every year we want to look and we want to review what the replacement costs are.
Yeah.
The calculators that we use for replacement costs, State Farm updates those every 30 days based on the zip code that we use or that you live in. And so the cost of materials updates every 30 days. The cost of labor in that zip code updates every 30 days. And so when we get together with our customers at least once a year, we can update that to make sure that it's right. And sometimes with the riders that we have on there, sometimes it grows too fast. And so we're able to bring it back down to save the customer even more money if it doesn't need to be as high as it is.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
That's something people need to pay attention to. So a big shout out to people. I need to remember this too, is to get together with your insurance company more than when you buy your house.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
You'll get in trouble. I want to go over a couple questions. I'm going to answer some of these myself probably, but I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. When I ask them who they're going to choose for a homeowners insurance company, most of them don't have homeowners insurance, obviously, right? They don't. Because they're first-time homeowners. Most of them do have they have auto though, right? So they have an auto policy because most of them own cars, if not everybody on that side. And they say, well, I'm not sure, who do you, sometimes they ask me who I suggest, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously I suggest you quite a bit on that side. But they asked, do they even need to get homeowners insurance? So, if you're a first-time homeowner and you're watching this, homeowners insurance is a requirement when you have a mortgage. It's not a requirement when you own a house, but it's a requirement when you have a mortgage because you have to have that insured. Too big of a risk for the lender not to have it insured. And so that's the requirement. You need to get it insured, on the day you close on your loan is when the insurance goes into effect typically.
Correct.
And as a mortgage guy, what we do is we help collect documents up front so that you're all ready to go. And we take most of that responsibility to make it happen, but we can't do it until you choose your insurance company. And that's why we like choosing Mike and his team so much, because all we have to do is send them to you. You have a conversation. They feel comfortable because you're a relationship guy.
Yes.
You're not a sales guy. You're a relationship person, and a relationship person is different than just a salesperson. Correct. And so it's building the relationship, and that's an ongoing thing. So we like that a lot. here's a question I get. What does this insurance cover me for? Address that within a minute. Like keep it under 30 seconds, maybe. Like what does insurance cover?
So the biggest thing is covering the home, the structure of the home. So if there's a loss, a fire, tornado, a tree falls on your house, any of those types of things, State Farm is going to be right there for you. It's also covering you for liability. So if somebody gets hurt on your property, if they want to sue you, we have coverages and protections for that. One of my favorite things is called loss of use. And so if a claim happens and you're unable to stay in that home, State Farm has protection to pay for another home to rent as you are waiting for your home to be rebuilt or to be fixed, so that you and your family don't have to stay away forever. So we have protections that are there for that.
Awesome. So you'd say, let me give an example. So if someone drove a car into my house, it would cover it.
It would cover it, yes. Now, we would also look at the auto insurance coverage to make sure that the property damage is there. More than likely, the homeowner's policy will cover it, and then we would do what we call subrogate, which we would go after that car insurance afterwards.
Cool. But if my son had a big party and ruined a lot of my house, it wouldn't cover it.
It would cover it, yeah.
It would cover it?
Yeah, so as long as they didn't burn the house down on purpose, then it would be covered, yes, absolutely.
What if the friends came in on a big party bash? I don't say my kids are going to do this, but what if you have a party over there, got out of control, and you had these teenagers, they ripped down like your stairway railings, and they put holes in your walls, and they did stuff. I mean, they would cover that?
There would be some coverage that's there, but again, that subrogation, we're going after those kids afterwards. So
good to know.
Or at least the kids' parents. At least the kids' parents.
Yeah. Good to know. That's pretty fun. Mike and I actually have a shared client that had a car go through her house this last week. Don't have any pictures of it. I'm thinking about maybe showing a picture, but really picture it in your mind. Car comes through. Last thing you need to worry about is how to pay for this. What are you going to do? There's some work that has to go into that, but I know Mike's team did an awesome job for my client on this one. She already got the check that she needed to get the repairs done. And I believe repairs are starting pretty soon. So that's an out there thing you hope never happens, but that's what insurance for, right? Like you just don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. So.
Anything can happen. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. If someone isn't planning on buying a home this year, are there anything else that they would want to talk to you guys about, kind of thing?
Absolutely. Obviously, we offer really anything mostly that has insurance behind it. We offer it. So auto insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance, and those sorts of things. If they are looking in the future to buying a home, my recommendation is let us help them with renter's insurance, because that renter's insurance starts the clock on that longevity. And so if you're renting for a couple of years and then you finally get into that house, when you get into that house, there's going to be additional discounts that you're automatically going to qualify for because of the longevity of that renter's policy to start. And so that renter's policy, the longevity moves into the homeowner's policy, and that continues to go on from there. And so there's huge discounts that apply to you the longer that you're with State Farm.
Perfect. That's good. I think this will be the last question. Then we're going to get off the homeowner insurance topic for today. But if I am buying a home and I'm, fairly tight on my margins for qualifying, what are the best things I can do with the insurance part of it just to get the best discounts up front?
Great question. Yeah, the biggest discount that we offer is when you multi-line the auto insurance with the homeowner's insurance. You could save up to 35 to 40% on your homeowners just by having your auto policy with us. And then it creates a huge discount on your auto policy as well. There's other discounts that are there, such as if you have an alarm system, depending on the type of roof that you have, and those sorts of things could create some additional discounts. But another way that people can to understand this is your homeowners isn't necessarily a maintenance policy. And so when you look at the deductible of the homeowner's policy, if it's going to be something small and you're just going to fix it yourself, just because of that, then go ahead and accept or have a little bit higher of a deductible, because when you accept or assume a little bit more of that risk, it's going to reduce the cost of that insurance, which is going to save you hundreds and thousands of dollars in the long run.
That sounds good. Would you say it's typical for an insurance agent or someone who's a salesman to offer different deductions, or just sort of present what they would want to present? Like not you guys, but in general, does the industry say, hey, you could take 5, 1,000, 2,000, or is it just sort of, hey, they give the lowest deductible as a general rule? How does it usually work?
A lot of times what I see is that they're given the it's kind of halfway. Some are just going to give the same deductible every single time.
Yep.
But I've also seen some that are given like a 10% deductible, which is insane.
Really high.
And so customers are just looking at the price,
Yeah.
and they're not necessarily looking at the inward parts of
Number.
that policy.
Yeah.
And so when something happens, it's a huge deductible that they have to pay, and it becomes a financial stress for them. And so what we do here in our agency is we sit down with our customers, whether it be virtually or in person over the phone, and we review line by line what each of those things mean, so that when that customer gets off the phone, when they're ready to close, whatever the case is, they know exactly what's in that policy, and they know, kind of understanding more than they ever have, what that policy does for them.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate your time today, Mike. Mike's part of my team. I consider him a team member of mine. He's a business partner. He's part of a lot of the different transactions we do as far as helping people into houses. If you've made it 15 minutes and 57 seconds into this video, it means that you like us. And if you like us, considering giving us some love on the thumbs up, sharing this content so that we can get a little bit more movement on it, that'd be great. If you made it this far and you don't like us, I don't know why you're still here, kind of thing. But that's fine too. But I appreciate you. We're going to check out. I think we hit our timeline here. But thanks for everyone watching this, and we'll talk soon. Go out and get yourself a house.
Awesome. Take care, guys.